Hi class, this is your video feedback for your Real Deal Tacos. I'll be going through and looking at this as a first-time user, checking your design and your usability, functionality, things like that. Layout, I may or may not repeat some of the same things that are on each site, so it's a good idea to go through and look at all of them. You'll really learn more that way. And this is the first time some of you have created a site, so I'm very much aware of that, and this is your soft launch, so you are able to take the feedback that you receive and implement that for week 4. So, but with that in mind, I do go through and try and point out the things that need to be changed. But everybody's done a great job overall, and just keep that in mind that in the end, it's all going to be a really great site once you get your feedback implemented. So let's start off here, Real Deal Tacos. One of the things that we have to watch for is our use of fonts, and it's very tempting to use decorative fonts for headers. And the best advice I can give you is stay as simple as you can when you are selecting fonts. Choosing a sans serif and a serif to go together, and you can look at font pairings, you can Google font pairings, and you'll see all kinds of combinations that work well together. But decorative fonts are really to be limited. All right, so here we have a decorative font, a little hard to read. And it may be a Western font, not sure, but it may feel something like that. And one of the things we'll look for is we'll make sure that the headers are consistent in the same place and with the same font. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. When I go to the About, I've got a different font. This stays the same. This is the same font. Okay, and then one of the things we want to watch for is stretching out the logo. We always keep it the same, and we want to use the Illustrator file for that. So I do like that this always stays the same. I think the logo should be also stationary. And we kind of have these images randomly, I know it may not feel like it, but randomly laid over the video. And by that I mean our gutters are inconsistent and they're not aligned. They are here, but not everywhere. And so that's something that needs to be addressed. This says lunch and dinner. Really, that should just be on the locations, and you have that here. Okay. One of the things, I think this is fine. Everything fits on this site. That looks good. One of the things that everyone can consider if you need to rework your locations is that Wednesday and Monday, for example, they're in the same place. So you could combine Monday and Wednesday. If you had to, just pointing that out. Our contact page, this actually is pretty lovely. The thing is, we get to the real content in this form, we have to scroll. So really, we want to get into this right away. Probably eliminating this header here and bringing this up would work best. And this looks nice like this. I like the colors. And so you might use this throughout. You want to put your contact page at the end. It's one of the last things that people will want to look for. And again, you want to bring that right up, I believe. Okay, we've got a couple of styles here. And the kerning, the space between the letters, is a little stretched there. Okay. I think it's a little long, a little wide, that is. You might even be able to get 2 columns on this. This doesn't bother me, but it might need to be, this could be centered. It's not exactly centered now, and this could be brought over here, perhaps. I mean, it looks nice, it's just a little long. Maybe you just need to change your breaks. It will make it longer, and there is quite a bit of scrolling, but something to think about. Okay. And this would be like this. You probably want this to be all on one line. You can even just say truck locations if you needed to. And again, you're going to bring this up. You do want the logo on every page, so, you know, maybe you want it like this in the logo, but you have to make sure that the logo is legible is the thing. And making it too small makes that difficult. Okay, so you've got a couple of combinations of colors, so you want to think about that. The about. Okay, so you did cut this down, that's good. Try not to have one word on a single line. Now, this is the first one we've looked at, and so there's going to be more comments, probably. Let's left align this. Okay. So you have a deco feel. This is a deco text. And on your home page, this is not. This home page needs to be simplified, all right? And bring everything up and keep your logos, you know, somewhere here. You're going to have to bring down your navigation, okay? But that is what I recommend, all right? And it'd be great to have your logo stationary in every page, okay? Good job. All right. This gets a little light. If we were to put this in a mobile, it would be kind of tough to read once it's sized down, so that might need to be a little heavier. Okay. Okay, we want to be consistent with where we put the price. Okay, you have it at the end and you have it at the beginning. Okay. Have a change of aesthetic down here for sure. A little bit of distance here compared to here. Let's see. Do you, on your social media here, do you have a link to the Twitter page that has the dates and the times rather, and locations? Because if not, then that page will need to be made. The restaurant has to come off because it's a truck, it's not a restaurant. All right. And let's see. I think you would have a better look here if this were round, a circle instead of the rectangle. Okay, the headers should be a little heavier, generally speaking, or a little larger. So your contact is here. And we get to it by the restaurant. So let's put the contact over here on the right. And and so you'll need a location page. A lot of space here. You want to bring that up. And you say drinks and desserts. So I don't see the desserts. So that needs to be worked out, right? Okay. So you've got a little bit of work to do there. But it's in good shape, and you'll have that by week 4. Good job. All right. Okay. Okay, how about you just say, and if you see what you like, something you like, see what you like, stop by and see us sometime. All right, the aesthetic here could fit a little better with the ocean vibe. And let's see. I'm going to check the headers here first and foremost. Okay. You'll want to optimize this and help it to actually fit, to load quicker, rather. This font, you see, is different from all of these, so we want to be a little more consistent. I don't think you need this here. I'm not sure you need it here. If you do use it, you could bring it down here a little bit. Okay. This is a different font. Different. Okay, so the menu needs to be fleshed out. And is that the same font as this? Okay, a little hard to read here. So that's why it's kind of nice to have a more basic, simplified font. This is easy to read. Maybe you use that throughout. This is different from this. And watch out for this drop shadow, outline rather. I think you do a better job. I think it's easy to read if it doesn't have the outline. Maybe you need a different font if there's a problem with it. This is a little, this may be bold, and if so, if everything's bold, then nothing's bold. I'm not certain that that's a bold font, but it's close to being a heavy font. A little more padding here, you guys. Make sure you allow that margin everywhere. Okay. The more doesn't seem to have more. Guess there's a history button. Is this a different font? Okay, we want to make sure we keep our fonts the same. And you'll cut this down. You'll cut it down to about here. You'll read through and take out what's not important. Try not to have one word on a line. But most of the colors are working. The black is a little harsh there. You might think about that. And this is a different aesthetic too. So mainly with this is you're going to stick to the same fonts on every page. And you might make this background blue if you're going to have a slider that is full across. Okay, probably you don't want to do that. But if you do, and you're not going to have the border transparent, then you might change that to just this canvas size and not full screen. Okay, all right, good job. Look forward to seeing some of these revisions and how it's going to work out at that time. All right. Again, you're going to cut that down. The About page is going to be cut down. I would take the What Do You Think off. The red, I know it comes with this template. It's not the best for Real Deal Taco because this was actually a Mexican food template. And that's why that is there. I would take the logo, put it up here, make it a little bigger. Go to home. Looks like we need an about menu here to get to the about. There should be one for every section, every container that you have. Easy to read, but you might need a little space between these, all right? Between the food items. Okay, and I know you've got time to do that. That's what you'll be working on. Okay, we have a different font. A little space here to put in. I'll put a little space here between these. And we're not centered directly, so we want to do that. Okay. Let's left align this. Okay, not too bad. I think photos with these would be nice. Logo's going to be here, and you won't need to say Real Deal Tacos when you get the logo there. What do you think should be maybe your thoughts, but this is the blog and events section, so I don't think you need, what do you think? You don't need any of these. You need something that says news and event, perhaps. And you could say testimonials or something like that that is a little more relevant to what you have here. Okay, so let's go back and look at the home page. Okay, making sure our headers are all the same font. Let's take this out in the black. Okay, this probably can come out. There are icons that come with this particular template that don't really feel, and you know, mostly because of the color red, don't feel like the blue and white, and green is okay, of the Real Deal Taco brand. So, you know, you could just change these colors here, and this would be, you might want a contact page, okay, at the end. All right, look forward to seeing some of those reworked for week 4. Okay, logo needs to be a little bit bigger. Can't read this San Diego, California portion. It'd be a little difficult on mobile as well. So, you know, again, we want to make sure that the headers are all the same and the fonts that we're using the same. And I think for this one, I'm a little unclear on the color palette. So that's something you want to work on and be real consistent with. I don't mind the pink, but then we have 2 different shades, and I'm not sure about that. Okay, our story. Okay. And again, you know, you're going to cut this down. This is a little small for mobile and so forth for reading. So let's make that a little bigger. This has a lot of leading. That's the space between lines. So we want to tighten that up a little bit. And let's left align these. Okay. It looks like this is a little larger than this font, so let's make those the same size. Great shots. And again, the color. If you go to Canva, and they've got 100 different palettes that you can look at, and you might be able to find something that you can just stick to 4 colors or 3 colors that you know are going to work together. And if I haven't already shown you guys, it's here. All right, so you can go in through here, and that will give you the hexadecimal that you need to stick to a particular color family or palette. All right, so I would do that in some cases because sometimes the colors just, you know, we're kind of grabbing what we think will work and we're hoping it works, but the best thing is to make sure we're sticking to something that is created from an original foundation. And if you look at color palettes from Canva like that, they're going to be made of the same percentages of gray and so forth like that to where they work out. So just something to think about. All right. Okay. Okay, a little light on this pink, a little hard to read. And I don't know, these may be template photos. Okay, so we have a little bit of different here. That font, you know, this is red, and this isn't. It seems to be the same font. Make sure they're in the same location. Okay. Why does that feel like a different font to me? It's not. It just feels like it's moved, and it is red. Okay, yeah, I think the first thing, because the layout is pretty good. Change this to 2018 down here. I think that the first thing I want to do is yeah, go through the Canva and look for some blues, color palettes, and then just stick to it and keep your headers in the same place, and the same color, and the same size. Of course, the same font, which you've done. All right. All right, let's see. And you've got more pages. Okay, and that's a great place for that photo. We want to get into the content a little earlier, so bring this up. Looks good. Again, I think just the color. You know, not a big fan of the red. And I think you've got social media here, and this covers up your header. So I'm never really a fan of drop down if it covers important content, if there's another way. Okay, so I would look to see if perhaps there is another way. And testimonials can be at the end, the bottom of something else. So see, you've got these two here. So I think we want to simplify, maybe just, you know, have a contact page and not have a social media page per se when you have this. Okay, and this is going to Real Deal Tacos, so that's great. So yeah, I think that once you implement those changes, it's going to feel very different. And I think I did say this would be great as an oval. I would take this off, the phone number up here, because you're losing some room up here. Excuse me, some room here where you could really use it to enlarge your logo, all right, or bring content up to above the scroll. So good job, great initial launch, and I look forward to seeing what it's about week 4. All right. This isn't exactly centered. You can tell this space here, this space, and that space. So we want to work with that a little bit. And nice image. Okay. The star you could change. You could replace that with a taco symbol. They have a half circle that feels a little like a taco. These are kind of the same icons, so you might think about that. Change the date here and put your name. Okay, so again, a little space and a little padding here on the left, a little space between the edge and your layout text box. A little space between items, very little, but it's just a little crowded, and a little space underneath your headers, okay? And consistent space between the last item and the header. The last item in the header needs to be consistent there. So let's look at your text. Okay, I feel like the text changed. Do you see that? We now have a serif. And we talked about making sure that the logo is not stretched. Okay. But just about the right amount of content here. This is short. You know, you might be able to bring that across and put a little more info in here and bring your text box a little broader, a little wider. Because you do have your logo here. You don't need it twice, okay? You don't need it here at all. This font is similar to your About Us. This is a nice page. Like that. That's good. You might try putting this over on the side so that we can get straight into this, because this looks good. Nice and simple above the scroll. And then there is some scrolling here. Okay. You might do something to help this stand out a little bit. It's getting lost, you know, at being the same size instead of a subheading. All right, so yeah, the layout is good. You just need some tweaks here and there, and I do think it would be good if you could get into the content quicker. Some people have put the logo, you know, on the images, but it would have to be stationary so that it would be on each one. Good work. Okay, again, we want to bring this up so that we can get into the content sooner. Remove the red, and this blue might still work. A little more content here. Okay, I think we've cut it down a little too much. And yeah. See what you can do to get more room up here, whether it's move your navigation up and put this over to the right or the left in this particular case. This looks good, and you don't have it stationary, so maybe it's needed. Different font. We need some subheaders here. Okay. Okay, here's your longer version. Let's cut that down. See, this is very much like the About section, so I would do away with one of those. Okay, we start to get a little small on the text here. A little hard to read, so you want to enlarge that a little bit. A lot of space here, you want to bring that down. And watch your colors. Okay, watch this as to whether or not it's actually a part of your palette. This blue is very much baseball blue and the red, so you kind of want to make sure you're getting closer to this blue. Would have a little more green in it. Okay, and that red. Careful with the heavy black, just like we talked about in one of the earlier ones. All right, so just make sure that your fonts are consistent, your headers are consistent, and possibly I would just use one or the other of this and put it in the center, as you have so much in the center. That's what I would do. Check your headers. All right. Look forward to seeing that. Very nice. This looks really good at this size. Unfortunately, one of the rules is we have to choose readability over aesthetics, so we want to make that a little bigger. All right. We've got uppercase and lowercase and uppercase, so this needs to be uppercase. Nice image. We're going to cut that down. A little hard to read, so you might want to make it a little bigger. Okay. Okay, you might want something that says contact. This could be smaller if it's going to be links, and I would probably just use the icons for your social media grace. And yeah, little space between your headers and your content. This would be bold, right? You have it bold there. Little space underneath the starters. All right. Yeah, so obviously you probably just had time to put content in, you guys, so I'm looking forward to how it comes together for you next week. You could probably do away with this header again and the phone number so that you can get more room. I know it's got that nice blue up there and you've got that sticky column, but header, but I think you need that space, all right, to get this a little bigger. Good job. Okay. So I would check this video. The images, you want to optimize those. Also, dig deeper into the folder. There's another folder of images. You might like those. So test those out. They're newer, and we've seen some with them, Michael, and you might check them out for yourself. There's a big leap here between this video and these images. It's incongruent visually, and the colors as well. Let's see, we've got, I'm not sure you need the buttons because you've got your navigation. Okay. Takes us a while to get into this content. Now, I will say I like this background. It's stationary, the colors work. You'll want to work on that. If it's reflowing differently, then you know, we can see about that. Look on mobile. Yeah. Be a size change, probably, at the very least. Okay. Again, I would use the icons for these. Takes a while to load with that video there. Not quite, let's see. Doesn't feel centered. It might be. It's just reflowing. Okay. Don't think we need both headers here. Of course, you're going to cut that down. It's taking a good while to get that to come up, and that's largely the video. Okay. So you want to work on these headers, maybe make those a little heavier. Okay. Let's put the news over on the end and your contact at the end also, or at least see new after your order online, put your news and then your contacts and locations and then your testimonials. Okay, but we do want to get into this content quicker, more like that. And I'm going to probably say the same thing about this particular banner up here. While I like the color, I think you need that space so you can push up your navigation. I would do that. All right, good job. Colors work on this page very well. Okay, logo needs to be bigger. Let's make this left align if you're going to keep that there. Watch your videos in the background. They take a while coming up. Watch your drop-down menus as they cover up headers. Little space underneath your header here. So you've separated them with links. You want to center this. Get a little padding here on the left on this button. So, there's a lot dedicated to 3 items. So I would put that, I would merge that with something. Maybe your desserts, drinks and desserts. Or sides, but I would merge some of these. Okay, we're doing a lot of clicking, and that's something that is very important. The user wants to get somewhere as quick as possible, and so we want to avoid as many clicks as we can for them. Okay, you're going to cut that down and put some space. That probably could be on one line, so you can get into that quicker. And yeah, you're going to work on that. Probably could put a better selection of a photo there. It doesn't have to be literal. It doesn't have to be a map. It could be a food truck. It could be also the food, you know. I'm wondering if this border is a little heavy, a little wide for these images. Okay. You can bring this all up to here. Probably just make it one canvas here. That's what I would do. And your social media gets a little lost with this particular background. So you might choose to put it, you know, up here. Okay. So this would be testimonials. Comments would be if you know, are giving your guests an opportunity to comment. All right. So good job. Okay. So we have some similar things to consider here that we've seen on some previous sites. I think we need to shorten and maybe make the navigation a little clearer. By doing that, we need to get into the content sooner. So this image may not be the best place for that above the navigation. And we want our logo to be stationary, I think, in this case. What you can do is move the navigation here. I would take these lines off that you have bordering it and bring this up. Maybe this is a larger image, could fill the whole thing and the whole depth of the screen. And this works, except probably the loading time. Maybe the images need to be optimized. It's a little jerky, a little clunky there, so I would reconsider that. We have a couple of logos, so that's a little redundant. And of course, cutting this down as we've looked at before. Again, we want to maybe put something else there. Okay. All right. So let's see how menu. Okay, we lose it here, so I think we want to move our navigation up on this one. This is very nice and clear. Okay. The aesthetic here you might look at, Jorge, just because, you know, the red sometimes throws it off. And you want to get into this a little quicker, right? Get into the content quicker. Hard to read this. Okay. Maybe a little space after venue. Probably break up your paragraphs a little bit so they're easier to read. I think I would make this larger and probably the same font. All right, so font consistency is always an issue when we're building this for the first time. And again, I know I'm taking time to talk about the details that need to be corrected, but I'm, you know, very aware of the work that has gone into some of these, and that you will be, you know, tweaking them and improving them, and in some cases quite a bit for week 4. All right. Okay, the background works. I would make this round and a little larger. Probably move it over. And again, it's a little light. It's the same template that we saw before. Actually, it's the same site. Okay, sorry about that. Except restaurant has been moved over. Okay. 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 So, Leon, you'll want to take this off unless you've actually got some photos, and those are the things that you will put there, but these aren't your photos, so you'll want to take that off. All right. Okay. Okay. All right. Be careful we're not cutting this off. And probably combine some of these. I like this overlay. It works for this. I wonder if you want to put this in just an opaque background so that you don't have these two ovals. That might work, and this probably needs to be centered a little more, this image. And yeah, not crazy about this, although it's got a certain aesthetic coloring that fits. I would make sure your headers are in the same place, and I would make sure that I would simplify these so that you're not covering up your headers. Okay, and your headers look to be in the same place. So that's what I would do, bring up at least one of these. And this works well too, bringing that up a little bit, getting into the content. So that's something you can think about. Cut that down. This works. It's a nice background for this. Okay, good. Little space here. Okay. And okay. All right, probably need to get into that a little more, a little quicker, bring it up a little, which would mean all of them. I think the aesthetics here could be a little more consistent with your color palette that you've got. Okay, but all in all, you've done a lot of good work here. All right, good job. Okay. Okay, see, this is our content begins very low on our prime real estate. We want to get that up higher. You want padding on this side and this side. And you're going to break this up into more paragraphs and edit down the content a little bit. This seems to float a little. If you're going to put an image there, you'll want it to come out in a line with your text. All right. Take a look at the color palettes on Canva and see if you find one that is a little more consistent. I mean, this looks really nice. It's just not consistent with what we have going on, okay? The blue, the green, and the deep ocean. You want to try and keep you can edit these down to where they align, and as far as lining up your dollar signs here, you can cut some lines, and you want to align all these left. This you can probably take off so that you can get into your content quicker. Little space there. Desserts and sides. Okay, so nice. Just, you know, aligning them the way they need to be. Not a fan of this green with this blue and white. Go ahead and look at the color palettes, like I said, and just select a few and stick to it, and don't use a color that isn't there. Okay. Little space there. Okay. The headers probably should be bold. And the perfect event, that probably isn't necessary. And okay. Yeah. This background, you know, is a little more like deep sea fishing, and you know, it's not so much the food truck land feel. I know beachy is good, but we're getting a little into deep sea here. So think about that. Don't think we need that if you've got our location. And then you have contact us down here. You can always have a contact that links to here. Okay, which probably should be centered, but I realize this is the template. This works as far as your social media icons. Those work well. All right, good job. All right. This deep green works well with this image. I think that if I were going to use that, this black would be that deep green, okay? And I would pick up this green in other places. Your logo needs to be a little bigger, maybe over here. It looks good here, but you know, we're clipping it a little. Okay, great shots. Yeah, I think the deep green would be best. Okay. Probably, you know, this, I'm not sure what that's for. I would take that out. Let's see, that's just part of the image. As we scroll. Feel like we have a few different fonts and headers going on here. Okay, and again, line up your amounts. You can edit these, the content here, bring that up. All of this looks good. It's going to look good on the dark green as well. And your images that you'll want there, nice. Desserts has 2 S's. And the way to remember that is that how many desserts do you want? Well, you'd prefer 2 desserts, but 1 dessert is big enough. You only need 1. Okay, I would change the colors on this to be either that green or the gold. Okay, might need to bring in a little more of the blue here. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. It's getting a little hard to read. I think the text needs to be bigger, and this is a picture of words, so it won't be searchable. You'll need to enter that text and strip it of all the formatting. All right. Okay, so be consistent with this. If this is what you like, then go ahead and use this throughout and remove any other. I like this color that you have on the map. Again, probably don't even need that there because you have it up here. Okay, aesthetic is changing just a little here. Again, use those others. And you're going to enter that text. Okay. Cut this down. Okay. Cute photos, and you've gone to the trouble of adding the text. Good job. All right. So this logo is very crowded up here. So you want to come to a different solution for that. All right. Okay. Good job. And we're at the beginning again. All right, everybody. You put a lot of work into this week, and I'm really pleased with your progress. This next submission is going to be for your portfolio draft. It will be a skeleton, and you will sense the experience that you have developed over the past 2 weeks. So I look forward to seeing those as well. All right. Contact me if you have any questions whatsoever, and have a good evening.